Welcome to Questions with LA. I am LA Marzulli, and we will be answering your questions to the best of my possibility. But first, a word from our trusted sponsor. Collagen is often referred to as our modern-day fountain of youth, and for a good reason. Our body loses its natural ability to produce collagen as we age. This is the reason why we see a visible decline in our skin, hair, and nails. Supplementing collagen can help reverse those visible signs of aging, but we have to make sure we're getting it from the right source. This multi-collagen uses a unique blend of the top 5 critically most important types of collagen our bodies need to help bring back the youthfulness into our skin, hair, and nails. Folks, mix it into the morning drink once a day. That's what I do. And watch as your body re-energizes and rejuvenates itself from the inside out, thanks to this powerful blend of collagen. If you've ever wondered how celebrities keep their skin, hair, and nails glowing, now you know. Folks, order it today to get a bundle of benefits like VIP health and fitness coaching for life and a new downloadable report called The 14 Foods for Amazing Skin, completely free. Folks, please be sure to go to healthwithla.com. That's healthwithla.com, or click the link below for more information. Folks, if you have not subscribed, please hit the subscribe button below, the subscription button below, and we're getting really close to 200,000 subscribers, and that's just unbelievable. By the way, Calvary Church Jupiter has all 3 of my presentations up on their YouTube website. If you just go to YouTube and you Google Calvary Church Jupiter, you will see those presentations. You can watch them for free. And by the way, the last time I checked, we had 124,000 downloads. That's amazing. But if you've got a question, please send them to questions@lamarzulli.net, questions@lamarzulli.net, and I will answer them to the best of my ability. I am not Mr. Know-It-All. I do not have all the answers. So what I don't know, but I will try. Anyway, this is from Denise. Hey, LA, do you think the Nephilim and fallen angels' way of such precise cutting of the boulders that the Nephilim architecture could have done with a type of laser? So let me just stop right there. When you go to places like Ollantaytambo or Sacsayhuaman and you're looking at these megalithic stones, or elsewhere, it's not the only place that has megalithic stones like this. When you go over in Egypt, you see the same similar type of architecture. And what's amazing about these stones and the cuts in the stones, they go all the way through the stone. It's just not the surface or the face that you're seeing. When you see that cut, it goes all the way through. How do I know that? In our film, in the Watcher series, and also in Out of Place Artifacts, which is coming up on the Trail of the Nephilim, we show a side view of the buttressing wall, the retaining wall, which holds the dirt on top of the Temple Mount, for lack of a better word. And you can see that the cuts of those stones go all the way through. They're not just dressed in the face of a stone, they go all the way through the stone. So whoever, and I remember talking to Brian about this, whoever did this took the technology with them. We have no idea how it was done. There's a lot of speculation. They could have heated up the stones and then molded them, possible. They could have cut them with some advanced type of laser, possible. We don't know. It's certainly enigmatic. And to think, and I just love when you're down there and you listen to with all due respect, to the Peruvian docents who were just mimicking what they've been told to say on these sites. The Inca were master stone builders. No, they weren't. They were good stonemasons, I get that, but they didn't build Sacsayhuaman. They didn't do that. They didn't build the artifacts that we see in Pumapunku and other places, in Teotihuanaco and other places. It just didn't happen. Sorry, not buying it. Something else is going on, and we're looking at technology, which frankly, in modernity, we have lasers, but show me how you can cut the stone with a laser. Show me how you can do that. You have to sync it into some sort of a computer program. Everything has to be mapped out on the computer program, and then the computer would then cut the stone out. They didn't have that 4,000 years ago. Anyway, continuing. This is from David. Have you seen this regarding Genesis 6? Carved in stone evidence of post-fallen angel genetic manipulation. It's in India, and these are bas-reliefs which are on a temple in India. They are very sexually explicit. I'm no prude, but I'm not going to give into basically showing what essentially is soft pornography on this show. I just won't do it. But it's very, very interesting because what you see is a female with the head of a horse. And this goes back into chimeras. We know from the book of Enoch that they mingle the seed. Remember, the seed of a dragon will be at enmity with the seed of the woman. The one coming from the seed of the woman, the proto-evangelium, will crush the dragon's head. Genesis 3:15. It is the basis for the entire biblical prophetic narrative, in my opinion. If we don't understand Genesis 3:15, then we don't understand what else is going on. Because the whole book, the whole Bible, the whole biblical prophetic narrative is this push and pull between two powers, the Most High God, El Elyon, and the dragon, the serpent, the devil. And the protocols of this, as Gary Stearman would say, are unknown to us. Why doesn't God just blink his eye and end it? Doesn't do it. He allows it to play out. But not for long and not forever. And the way things are going right now, right around the white horse could be coming, but I digress. So I think that they are genetic manipulation, going back, way back into the book of Enoch. Genetic manipulation is happening now. Genetic manipulation happened right there with the Paraka skulls. I mean, there's absolutely no doubt about it. So let me continue. I had something weird happen to me when I was 15 or 16. I had a cousin stay in the summer with me, and she saw it too. My bedroom was in a second floor loft, and every night for like a week, we kept seeing lights flashing outside the window. Let me continue. We were scared, and we just cover our heads. We told my grandmother, and she convinced us it was just lightning bugs. You know, when kids see stuff and they go to their parents and they tell, I'm seeing something. Oh, it's just lightning bugs. Oh, you just had a bad dream. Oh, there's really nothing coming into your room. Nonsense. Nonsense. Sometimes it is just that, but oftentimes it's not. Parents, wake up. Grandparents, wake up. When your kid tells you something, pray. Go into that room and pray over that room. Plead the blood of Jesus over it. So let's continue. So one night we got brave. We held on to each other and walked to the window. When we looked out, we saw an average-sized man. The man had a black trench coat, black hat, and no visible facial features. It turned its face towards us. So it immediately knew it was being watched. We just screamed and jumped into bed. My grandmother came up and looked, and it was gone. We never saw it again, but we did call our pastor, and he prayed with us and never saw it again. Hallelujah. That stuff is really scary when you're young. I'm in my 50s now. Have you ever heard of this weird thing happening to anyone else? I became born again at 13, and that's from April. April, absolutely. When people see that, that can be a couple of things. It can be what's called Hat Man. People see this figure in a black trench coat with the hat but no facial features. Some people call him Hat Man. It could have been a man in black. Whatever it was not good. It was not good, and it was observing something. And notice when it immediately realized it was being watched, and then it turned to you, and of course the rest is history. Rebuke first, ask questions later, pray over the room, and grandparents and parents, when your kids tell you something, listen again. Listen twice. It might not be a bad dream. Something might be happening. The supernatural world is real. And sometimes it manifests to people like you and me, and that's why we do our show on Monday and Friday, where people come in to the show and they tell us what happened to them. Oftentimes it can be angelic. They can hear the voice of Jesus himself. They can have an encounter with Jesus. Other times it can be very, very nefarious. Fallen angels, hat men, things like that. So it's all across the board. This is from Sophie. Hello, LA. I have followed, listened, and watched you on your DVDs, books, and interviews. I remember in several of them, you told about 2 or 3 different servicemen and pilots who encountered the giants of Kandahar. His killing of an entire platoon of our men and eventual death at the hands of a platoon that contacted him. And this is all in our Watchers 10 series if you want to watch it. LAMarzulli.net if you want to buy the video, or streaming.lamarzulli.net, instant gratification after the show is over. Go to streaming.lamarzulli.net and download Watchers 10 and check it out. The last info I had was that his remains were airlifted to Wright Pat Air Force Base. Nothing since then. Do you know of anything further? Or were there more of these creatures remaining in Afghanistan? It's always intrigued me. Love your music and just received your latest DVD on the crop circles. Thank you, Sophie. Appreciate it. I'm going to watch it tonight. All the best and blessings, dear brother in Christ. It's in a nice little email there. Sophie, what can I tell you? I was contacted by a guy from a deep state for our work on Watchers 10, which is around 2015. And then when Trump got elected, it all kind of went away. But they didn't like that information. He told me point blank. The reason why I'm here is because of your work on the Kandahar Giant. And I just went, whoa, okay. You've heard me talk about this before. Since then, I have been contacted by other people, and there were more than one of them. Let's just leave it at that. Can I vet that? Of course not. I can't vet any of it. But we've had people come up at conferences and say and tell me, I was there, I saw this. One man in particular was very, very interesting, his communication. And he vetted basically what you also said, Sophie, that the bodies were taken to Wright Pat. We'll never know. It's amazing. You know, the American people have a right to know what's going on. And, you know, how dare certain factions of the government say, oh, well, we're not going to show you this. Why? What are they so afraid of? If there are giants that are roaming the earth in modernity, the American people and the people of the world have a right to know. I've never seen one. I don't want to see one. I don't. I was on a show on Friday, and they were showing pictures of this alleged giant on top of a mountain in Mexico. According to what's been going on, the man who shot the video died mysteriously. So for whatever reason, they're keeping this under wraps, and they did so with the Kandahar Giant. This is from Joel. This might be a different type of question. Within evangelical Christianity, over the past 20 years or so, Calvinism has become popular with the millennial and Generation Z Christians. Calvinism basically teaches God chooses who is saved or not. People have no free will to choose salvation. Is Calvinism an end-time deception? Well, Calvinism has been around for a long time. I'm actually reading What Love Is This? It's by Dave Hunt. It's a very, very deep dive, very intricate, very detailed deep dive into Calvinism. So there's two schools of thought, Calvinism versus Arminianism. I am not a Calvinist. I think that's an absurd, ridiculous position to hold. If you're a Calvinist and I'm offending you, please, I love you, but I don't believe that Calvinism works at all because there's no free will. Then we're all just automatons, we're just a bunch of robots, and nothing makes any sense at all. It doesn't matter. I have no choice. Am I depraved? Yes, I was depraved in my depravity and my sin before I met the Lord. Am I still depraved now? Yes and no. What I mean by that is I still struggle with my sin nature. You still struggle with your sin nature. But it was free will choice. And when I finally asked him in my heart, then he came in. And then he started to act, but not until then. So I am not a Calvinist at all. I think Calvinism springs on the springboard for that is Augustine. And, you know, there are many devout Calvinists, but at that point, then are you trying to tell me that God creates Bob and Jane over there, and neither of them are going to be saved, so they're going to spend eternity in hell? I don't believe that for a second. Everyone has a free choice. If we look at the biblical narrative, it's Jesus died for all, for everybody, and that's the end of that. I hope that answers. If you want to do a deep dive, check out Dave Hunt's book, What Love Is This? It's like that thick. I'm still wading through it. I read it in small doses because it's very, very detailed, and there's a lot to ruminate on there. This is from Kathleen. I sent you a link to a video, and yes, it was probably about 2 hours long. I don't have time to watch things like that. I was hoping that you would open it to look at the context because what they were talking about and showing body parts found in an ancient mudslide, and the parts were intact and very large, way too large to be human. Could they be giants caught in the flood? Do you know about these and whether there has been DNA testing done on them? Thank you for your videos, books, and YouTube videos. I have followed your work for years and appreciate what you do. That's from Kathleen Rogala. I did not have a chance to look at that, Kathleen, so I really don't know what you're referring to. Whether or not people have done DNA testing, let's hope. We did DNA testing with the Paracas skulls, and of course what we discovered there was that the DNA came from, many of the samples showed a haplogroup, the maternal side of the DNA, the mitochondrial DNA, coming from the female side, the maternal side of the equation, showed a Middle East connection. So that's what I know. And there's a lot of stuff on the net, and unless you can really vet it and go to the site and examine the evidence, it's a lot of hearsay. This is from Gloria. Did you hear about the 5-year DNA study Paul Pallades has been conducting on Sasquatch hair? He worked with Scott Carpenter. Yes, I'm aware of that. Unknown species. And we've heard this before. The guys from Gaia went down with Brian Forrester. They took 100 samples, and I've tried to contact them, and they don't respond to emails, so how does that work? They stated on the record that the DNA, they got nuclear DNA, and the DNA was from an unknown primate. There is genetic manipulation going on. There's no doubt about that. This all goes back to the seed war, Genesis 3:15, which is why if we don't get that, if we don't understand that the seed of a dragon will be at war with the seed of the woman. Coming from the seed of the woman is Jesus, is the proto-evangelion, the Messiah. But the dragon doesn't want that. 3 chapters later, we get Genesis 6. Unless we understand Genesis 3:15, we're left going like, oh, I don't understand what's going on. And frankly, who would? So this is from Lori. Thanks for writing in, Lori. I have a question that's been bothering me for years. A DNA analysis my brother had done showed he is 2.5 Neanderthal. We have the same parents, so I assume my DNA is similar. Are the Neanderthals Nephilim? Do I have Nephilim genetics? Am I capable of having salvation if this is the case? You wouldn't be asking this. Nephilim are in a fixed state. They are soulless. Just because you have 2.5% so-called Neanderthal, don't worry about it. The fact that you're writing, you're saved. He loves you. You're not a Nephilim. You're not carrying a Nephilim gene, in my opinion. Why it's fascinating with the so-called Neanderthal, science needs to do more research. That's all there is to it. It seemed like a Neanderthal died out. We've got the Denisovans based on a few samples, but they don't know. If we're really intellectually honest, we don't know. We can believe the biblical narrative, or we can believe that Neanderthals and Denisovans and we're millions and millions of years old of mindless evolution marching forward, and here we are. I don't believe that, because I believe he spoke everything into existence and he created everything. So just because you have 2.5 Neanderthal doesn't mean you're a Nephilim at all. And the fact that you're writing in tells me that he loves you and you are saved. Hope that helps. This is from Carla. I have always been taught that the children have a guardian angel that sees the face of God all the time. Why don't the guardian angels protect the children from being taken by the Greys? Why does God allow the Holocaust? Why does God allow my 6-year-old daughter to come down with leukemia? We live in a fallen world, a sinful world, and that world is not going to change until Jesus comes back. And when he comes back, that's when things change. That's when things change. But we are in the midst of a heavenly war. And this war is working, erupting, manifesting all around us. And the protocols of the war, remember, who offered the kingdoms of the world to Jesus? Satan. It's his planet. It's his world. It's his world. And until the Lord comes back, that's how it's going to be. But when he comes back, the dragon, Satan, the devil, is wrapped up in chains and cast down into the abyss for 1,000 years. That's the millennial kingdom. It's literal. It's not pie in the sky stuff. It's literal. And some of us believe it could happen soon, and frankly, I hope it does. This is from James. Thoth wrote the Emerald Tablets. I believe those Emerald Tablets are the surface of the ground covered in lush forests, as above, so below. So the question is, what do you think of the serpent mound now? To me, it resembles an MRI of the human brain or a gray self-portrait. Well, I saw that, and that's an opinion. I don't believe that. To me, the serpent mound it's Genesis 3:15. It's the serpent with his mouth wide open, ready to devour the eggs. Serpents eat eggs, but they don't give birth to eggs through their mouth, as New Agers try. The serpent is denoting, is the effigy of wisdom, and he's birthing wisdom to the human race. Nonsense. The serpent is trying to completely devour that egg, destroy that egg, so Messiah will not be born. This is why Genesis 3:15 is absolutely critical. The seed of the dragon will be at enmity with the seed of the woman. If you have a question, shoot me an email, questions@lamarzulli.net, questions@lamarzulli.net. We'll see you back here tomorrow with another episode of Supernatural Confrontations. Hit the subscription button, the subscribe button below. Thanks so much for watching, and we'll see you tomorrow.